I hope you're ready for some ill logic. Last time we went over our Week 7 matchup against Zach and his Summit County Psyducks. Please go check that video out first if you've not done so already, as we covered the team builder, battle, and post-game thoughts, which, spoiler alert, were filled with self-criticism after a pretty bad 0-3 loss to Rhyperior and friends, bringing our record down to 5-2 and on the brink of missing the first round bye. This time we're trying to right the ship against Joey and the 4-3 Akron Aggrons. Joey's been a great friend in the league, and aside from that first battle I had against him in Season 2, I've dominated every matchup since. He's been hilariously susceptible to sweeps, so see if maybe we can orchestrate another one here today. And of course, he's got his playoff life on the line as well, so you know he's going to bring his A game. Before we move on, of course, timestamps will be in the description for the pregame thoughts, the team builder, the battle, and the postgame thoughts. So Joey's team has got a Rabombi, Noivern, Lycanroc Midday, Dugtrio Alola, Galvantula, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Orbeetle Gmax, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Chansey, and Sableye. Like Michael, it's another very, very fast team, though this team supplemented by multiple Sticky Web users with 3 bug types. Noivern is fast, Lycanroc is fast and has momentum, Urshifu is fast and strong. The 2 mods that stand out the most, I think, are Chansey, who is the sole tank on an otherwise not tanky at all team, and Rillaboom, which Joey has used very well this season, and sits near the top of the KO leaderboard, just behind Dragabolt and tied with Steve's Lycanroc Dusk. So how do I expect him to construct his team for mine? Not with Alola and Dugtrio, whose Earthquakes are weakened by Grassy Terrain, but otherwise also just can't withstand a hit from anything on my entire team, including being hard countered by things like Tangela or Sandaconda. Sableye also struggles exceptionally with 2 dark types on my team to counter priority moves, a Magnezone immune to status, along with Shedskin, Sandaconda, things like Colossal or Dragapult. You don't care about what he's going to do. Not a good time. Rabombi has a place, but it's not a great overall matchup against Colossal, Magnezone, Vikavolt, Sandaconda, Mantine. Not great. Galvantula has similar problems, but Electric Stab makes it better against Mantine, my usual Spadef tank, and it can still inflict paralysis, but with Thunder instead of Stun Spore. But ultimately it faces mostly the same issues. Finally, it's a very good Mon, but Urshifu just isn't great in the matchup, as we saw from Week 1. It needs to be Scarf for Dragapult, but needs that power to break through Tangela, or Vikavolt, or Mew, or Silvally types. It's just too much. For the 6 I expect, Chansey is tanky, including taking a surprisingly low amount of damage even from things like Sandaconda and Gmax form, just by investing in defense. It doesn't necessarily do damage back traditionally, but between Rocks, T-Wave, Toxic, Seismic Toss, it'll hurt me in other ways. His Gmax is Orbeetle, but the Bug Psychic typing isn't phenomenal against me, not at all. Despite that, he's used his Gmax very well recently, setting up Gravity for his own Hypnosis, Lycanroc Stone Edge, and others. That extra bulk from Orbeetle combined with cool typing could present a problem. Lycanroc is very strong, even without the Tough Claws boost that its counterpart has. Rock Ground fighting coverage is fearsome enough, let alone the priority of Accelerock and the potential for Swords Dance. The last 3 I think are the guarantees, starting with Noivern, who presents his best special attacker against my team, with lots of speed and Dragon Fire coverage to hit my whole team hard. The typing is great offensively and defensively, so I want to scout out as much as possible first. Incineroar is so good from Tier 3, including pivoting potential, setup potential for teammates with Intimidate and Parting Shot, and strong stabs, including Knockoff, which can mess with my team. Very scary, for sure. Finally, you already know that Rillaboom is absolutely a threat, with priority Grassy Glide and a stupid strong Wood Hammer, along with coverage like Knockoff or High Horsepower, and the ability to run Banded or maybe even Swords Dance with coverage like Acrobatics. Big threat, but we could have some answers. Vullaby is not able to take these threats on, though the defog potential is there. It's just too susceptible Knockoff, doesn't have a great matchup in sight aside from probably his very worst Mons, and probably not worth it. As nice as Sneasel could have been to have, including Ice Shard for Noivern and Rillaboom, and being the one to take down Blissey a few weeks ago, where we're facing Chansey this time, it can't switch in reliably. It's just outsped by too many things, not to mention the Sticky Webs issue, which would force heavy-duty boots on it. Additionally, I saw the issues I had with it last week, but decided it probably isn't worth it to try again here right now. Vikavolt has a decent matchup with a strong Bug Buzz, but it doesn't necessarily beat anything, and often can only Volt Switch out into a better answer. Silvally doesn't have a good enough typing for anything, except maybe a setup normal set, but I think the others have a better matchup. After another poor use of Silvally, it's back to the bench, which is tough. Finally, it may come as a surprise, but Mew is staying put this week too. I couldn't find a proper set for it. It often got bopped by the bugs and Incineroar, and Sticky Webs are an enormous issue in trying to get something going. Instead, I decided that if I can't outspeed his team, I wouldn't even try. Hence, these 6. I feel like I have a great matchup against Joey, and I'm saying that even when leaving behind Mew of all things. Why am I so confident then? Well, a couple weeks ago I took a brief look at the matchup and instantly knew a few things I wanted to bring, leaving my future self a note. On that note, I included Tangela, who will wall Rillaboom infinitely without some combination of Swords Dance, Knockoff, and U-turn or Acrobatics. That's Tangela's #1 job this week for sure, containing the Gorilla. To that end, Sludge Bomb is a 2-hit KO, which is pretty funny honestly. The rest is standard knockoff on switches, or Stun Spore resists, and special attackers like Noivern, and Leech Seed to mess with a Chansey if needed. Another one I told myself I was going to bring was the Colossal, who now makes its 3rd appearance in a row after 5 weeks without any use. Grassy Terrain goes very well with it, but also does a great job tanking special attackers like Noivern, Rabombi, Galvantula, or Orbeetle, while also handling things like Incineroar and Rillaboom racking high horsepower. Pretty cool, and that Assault Vest helps out a lot, honestly. Even without rocks, I like the coverage that it gets. The last Mon Past Me told me to put on was this Magnezone, particularly an Iron Defense Magnezone. The calcs on this guy at +2 defense are so silly, taking less than half from things like Instant Flare Blitz, Lycanroc Drill Run, Rillaboom high horsepower. If I can get, say, 2 off, then I start being able to keep up the sub against them. The only special attackers that are breaking through are Flamethrower Noivern and Seismic Toss Chansey, and I'm immune to Toxic and Paralysis. Good luck breaking through this one, as a Body Press on a switch to something like Instant, even at neutral, is doing about 2/3 to it. The final piece is Analytic, with a -speed nature, slow enough even to underspeed Chansey, as at +2 I have a shot to OHKO it with Body Press, funnily enough, so imperfect speed IVs to underspeed that too. How do I follow that up? With a Dragon Dance Dragapult, of course. The only member of the team that can actually outspeed anything is here to ruin his day with Clear Body, to avoid the speed drop from Sticky Web and further boost up on an already fragile team. Dragon Darts hits everything but Rabombi, who has a 50-50 shot of going down to +0 Steel Wing, so that seemed pretty safe to me. Sub up and win. We're in the kill lead already in the league, so let's see if we can keep that up. Sandaconda is going to be next, the mon I should have brought last week, and I'm excited to try and lean on it more in the future. It tanks things like Lycanroc very well, and in Gmax form doesn't care much about anything. Even Banded Rillaboom does no OHKO in Gmax, and heals me too, while I can trap it with Sandblast and avoid the EQ penalty in terrain. A secondary physical wall with Tangela, who can still do damage with Ground, Rock, and Dragon coverage, each hitting things super effectively that need to, while covering other possible switches, so I'm excited to see what it can do. Finally, you should know that to this point, Mantine is actually 5-0, while my team without Mantine is 0-2, so of course I'm going to bring the raid this week too. That, plus its ability to tank Noivern hits all day long in particular, along with Rabombi and other special attackers, and the status abilities and Hurricane doing too much damage to everything not named Chansey, you've got yourself a spot on the team, partner. What do they all get to do in the match itself? Only one mistake, Galvantula over with the Orbeetle Gmax. That's fair, honestly. The electric coverage is good overall, but that's just another target for Magnezone to set up on. I'm liking the matchup for that zone, assuming Galv comes first, so off we go into the Incineroar series. So what do I need to do? Have a good, decent lead matchup around here with it. That's fine. Everything on my opponent's team is a switch in. For Incin, it's going to be Colossal. I do lose my Assault Vest, so I'll need to be maybe a little bit more careful with Galvantula, as well as maybe Noivern as well, but I still have very good answers for both those ones anyways. Parting Shot is a good move from him here. It lets his Chansey take less from my imminent attack. Good recognition that I probably don't have rocks, considering I had AV, and he needs to lower my stats since he's faster than me. So I can play the switch game pretty well in this matchup again, though, so I'm fine with going into Magnezone on the Chansey, which works out doubly well as I immune the Toxic, and Chansey isn't going to be able to keep up the momentum nearly as well as Incin could, so this is the chance that I wanted. You can soft boil all he wants. Maybe he's expecting Volt Switch, but I'm just going to stay in an Iron Defense. That's pretty nice. I do get a little greedy here, trying to sub a little bit, but he does have Seismic Toss that he's just going to lay down, and that's fine. That's definitely fine, because as he stays in to break the sub, we've got an Analytic Boosted Body Press, which will OHKO the Chansey. It's really nice to see Chansey go down in one hit to a traditional special attacker. That was... oh my goodness, that did a lot of damage. That's what you get for max defense plus 2 Iron Defense. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It was probably a mistake for him to stay in with Chansey this couple turns, but anything else would have been hit for a ton of damage too anyways. Even the Recess, so I'm totally fine with this. We're up 6-5 already, and in is going to come a Fire type. When the Intimidate, of course, doesn't really matter. So at +2, I can take this thing down right now, and I'm not KO'd by Flare Blitz despite that, so I actually stay in on his Parting Shot, which doesn't lower my damage output anyways, and oh my goodness, 45% on the Noivern. You may know that Noivern resists Body Press, but 45% anyways, that's insane. That's a great chip on a big threat there, but I think it's about time I take my leave, so I'm just going to swap out into the Colossal to try to get, oh, well, it's another U-turn, that's fine. He had to make that play, I think. Lycanroc to switch in, fair enough. Tangela could be the play, but I'm trying to play Sandaconda a little more aggressively now that I'm ahead. And we're actually going to trade damage there, 18% for 10% on the Life Orb. So that's pretty darn nice, honestly. So Sandaconda is a tanky boy, but I don't think he stays in here anymore. So what am I anticipating? Maybe Noivern comes in? That'd kind of suck. Any other threats I'm worried about? Not particularly. Maybe Incineroar to lower my attack? That could be it. Actually, I'm going to assume that it's coming in over the Noivern and make sure I get a Sandblast off, just in case he does stay in. Incineroar is the switch, Intimidate off, but Sandblast is going to do a ton of damage. We're looking at 59% from the original hit, plus the extra chip from that. So I'd posit that this one is maybe one of the bigger misplays in the battle. I totally forgot I outsped Incineroar. I'll be honest, I had the mindset here that I wasn't outspeeding anything with anything because of sticky webs. I even had the minus defense, or minus speed rather, nature on the Magnezone. I totally forgot that I outsped this, and I could have just KO'd this right here and now. But I actually do outspeed it, and it's trapped as well, which meant that it was an easy KO with another Sandblast or maybe Rockfall, if I do the calc maybe. However, I was under the assumption you would just outspeed and parting shot out into either Rillaboom or Noivern, and I clicked Max Wormwind to catch that. Unfortunately, I do outspeed, and while I do reduce its attack, it reduces my attack as well, and oh well, that's fine. And it's going to go into Rillaboom. I have to think a little bit, but I do survive the Choice Band Woodhammer at this range, so I'm actually going to Sandblast. This may seem like a weird option considering it does resist, and you may think I need to lower its damage output a little bit, but I want to know if he has a choice item. The damage from that Grassy Glide does indicate he does have one, and that is actually pretty ideal. The Sandblast damage is negligible. It is a little bit more than EQ, actually, because of grassy terrain. But it's about time I start putting this big brain plan into action. I know that he's locked into Grassy Glide, so I know something that should be able to tank that all day long. Hello, Tangela. Should be able to eat that up with absolutely no problem whatsoever. That's fine. He also cannot switch thanks to Sandblast. And as I discovered from my misplay around a couple of weeks ago against Michael and the Kinglers, this Rillaboom is trapped. It's doing absolutely nothing to my Tangela, who has the coverage move necessary to take down Rillaboom in Sludge Bomb. And that's how a Tier 5 will take down one of the most fearsome Pokemon in the league this season. Nicely done, Tangela, proving your worth every single week that you come. We're up 6-4 now, looking very good. I think it makes a lot of sense for this Noivern to come in as Grassy Turn expires. Big special move is imminent, so Mantine will be my kind of catch-all switch in. I can save Cole a little bit more for maybe Galvantula now that Magnezone's a little bit chipped. Flamethrower does absolutely nothing. Nicely done. I don't see him staying in, but I'm not really sure what the right move to click right now is. I feel Toxic is pretty safe, so on the U-turn, I do get to poison the Galvantula, which could be a big deal because the Focus Sash, if he has it, could be broken here, or perhaps just getting a slightly weaker move to KO sooner rather than later. I can't stay anymore, of course, but you know what? I think Magnezone probably is a nice switch in here. When he comes for a little more punishment, Galvantula's going to set up the sticky webs. Hey, more turns you waste setting up webs, the better for me. I really don't care about them much. So I'm just going to sub up. Honestly, I don't know if this was the right play. I think I should have just clicked T-Bolt here, if we're being totally honest. Noivern would be close to done, if not out entirely. Incineroar would definitely have been KO'd. It's not like Galvantula does much of anything as I heal up with leftovers. Yeah, T-Bolt probably was the play, but that's fine. So I'm just going to set up a little bit on this Incineroar because it overheat. Oh man, apparently this was the option to get through Tangela, so glad I avoided that one a little bit. As much as I would love to take advantage of the weak Incineroar and the +2 defense I have, I am a little bit worried about overheat, so I'm going to make the safe play into Cole, get a Flash Fire activated, which is pretty nice. He doesn't have great Coal Answers anymore, actually, which is pretty funny, so I'm going to make another prediction. He's going to Parting Shot into Lycanroc to take a Fire move, but yup, EQ, good prediction, honestly, 61%. It's not like Noivern was going to be doing much of anything to me anyways, and that meant that the next turn I could just Rock Blast if I really needed to, so I thought this was pretty nice. I figured, yeah, Noivern wouldn't be the play, can't do anything back to me. So, and we probably would have thought that a Rock move was incoming anyways, and Lycanroc was the only thing that could eat that up, and of course be able to hit back, so that's pretty nice, that's nice. Lycanroc can take anything, or Tangela that could take anything from Lycanroc. It's going to eat up this pretty easily. Drillrun actually going to crit there on me, 10%. I see a chance to get good damage off on anything coming in by just clicking Sludge Bomb, so that'll be the play here. That's fine. This is starting to look clean. I'm not sure if we'll find another chance to get into Dragapult, though. Dragapult is the kill leader right now, and I need to try to get it in. You know who resists electric and bug? It's also going to be this guy. So this is totally fine. If Bug Buzz is incoming, let's just get in the Ghost, right? So Dragapult going to switch in here. Clear Body, of course, Thunder. That's fine too, and it paralyzes. Oh well, Dragapult actually had an opportunity here to clean up the last 4 KOs, but with the paralyze not happening. And Sucker Punch definitely wasn't going to happen, actually. Sucker Punch, really? Really? It didn't, at least it didn't crit like the last 2 Sucker Punches did. And no full para also matters, as it claims Dragapult its 13th KO of the season, keeping in the lead for now ahead of Steve's Lycanroc Dusk form at 12 and Joey's Rillaboom, who is now stuck at 10. I'm starting to see the path to a perfect game, though, actually. So on the Noivern that's coming in, I am going to go into Mantine. It's just made a lot of sense to me. No damage taken from Dark Pulse. Cool coverage move, but I think Dragon Pulse just made a lot more sense. I'm going to click Hurricane here, actually, just in case he stays in, but unfortunately after the U-turn I do miss. That's totally fine, of course. It's not like it matters too much in the long run. And Instance against a Water type, so outspeed and Scald for damage. Get the knockoff with relative ease. And I'm just going to finish off the Incineroar here right now to avoid a parting shot into something else, which could start to get weird. Only 2 things left on the Lycanroc. I'm going to go into Tangela, but he does make a nice switch of his own into Noivern. But of course, I always have Colossal to come in afterwards. After the Flamethrower, we're just going to make sure that we get rid of the item just in case it's going to be just boots. That's fine. But again, Colossal always comes in for absolutely free. Cole Strong, and he's going to try and flinch me down. That's really the only thing he can do. Cole Strong is going to break through, and that's absolutely fine. Now down to Lycanroc. Unfortunately, I can't do anything to nab the final KO because of the Life Orb recoil, but I'm going to at least ensure that we get the 6-0 victory, and Lycanroc will unfortunately go down to recoil. So that's going to be GG to Joey. That will be a 6-0 victory over the Akron Aggrons. Just totally dominant. I feel like this was a great matchup for me, but it was definitely amplified by great prep and team building in the first place, and just nice, clean overall bounce-back win after last week's terrible loss. Let's go over the breakdown a little bit. So on his side, Chansey went down early, but I had several ways available to deal with it. Spreading Toxic on my walls could have been annoying, but first and foremost was the lack of recognition of body press. Galvantula probably was actually the right call over Orbeetle, but electric coverage with Energy Ball for Snake was probably good. I'm just glad I was able to trivialize the webs. Noivern was definitely annoying, but I'm surprised it wasn't a Draco spamming variant, considering that my only resist gets buffed by Flamethrower. Still a good call to bring it. I definitely think it was a good play. And since pivoting, it was super annoying. It's a cool idea to bring Overheat, but I can't imagine it does that much more than Flare Blitz after a knockoff on a Tangela, for example. Lycanroc getting stopped hard by Sandaconda was exactly what I envisioned. It went a lot better this time than against the Tough Claws variants. I took minimal damage even with Life Orb present. I got a good hit in on it mid-game. Finally, Rillaboom surely is scary, but I don't know about Bandit this week. I handled this thing pretty perfectly, and Woodhammer wouldn't have even KO'd even if it were present on the set, which I found out it wasn't. Tangela stopped it every single time. Felt good to have the hard stop to it. On my side, Dragapult actually just cleaned up. If it weren't for that Thunder Para, potentially the priority from Accelerock / Sucker Punch would have stopped that, but I think that's fine. The kill leader lives on. It's a good right call putting D-Darts on it in the first place. Magnezone sure looked better this week than last week, claiming KO on the defensive wall and threatening good pivots later, especially against Galvantula. Good ring for sure. Sandaconda's Lycanroc check was great, but the damage output and utility from Sandblast was finally there too. Probably the best I've used that all season, which is really nice. Mantine always stopped Noivern. It was nice to have such a reliable wall that really only feared Toxic. Cole as a special wall actually worked out pretty well too. I made a nice read on that Lycanroc too, and I swapped it in and out inappropriately. Tangela is of course the best Mon ever, and it handled yet another top threat easily. So tough to call an MVP when the whole team worked so well together, but I think I'll end up giving it to the one member that didn't get a KO in Sandaconda for swiping in on the Lycanroc easily, taking out most of Incineroar's health, and trapping the Rillaboom for Tangela to finish off, opening up multiple holes in his team. That was a big win for sure. That'll catapult us up to second place overall with a guaranteed spot in the playoffs, so there will be at least 2 more videos after this one for the final week in the playoffs, which is awesome. We cannot fall beneath the 4 seed either, and at 6-2, with 1 more differential than the third place team, we just need a win by more than the third place team wins by to secure a first round bye. That is easier said than done, of course, as our final opponent is also at 6-2 and needs to beat us to try and leapfrog up from the 4 seed to a first round bye. We'll be giving it to the old college try here to secure a win against a good team before the playoffs start right after. See ya.